Back on August 25th, 2009, Rocksteady Studios released what many still consider one of the greatest superhero video games of all time, with Batman: Arkham Asylum. At the time, it was groundbreaking, not only for comic book adaptations, but for the video game medium itself. So 10 years on, I look back at the influence it had and celebrate the very beginning of one of my favourite series of games to date. Batman has maybe the longest history of any superhero in the world of games, ranging from brilliant, like the subject matter, to downright awful, like Ratcatcher bad. So it's no shock that back when it was announced that Rocksteady were working on a Batman title, people weren't exactly counting down days. Most comic book based games at the time were TV and movie tie-ins, and were clearly cheap cash-ins on the licenses. But when the first screenshots for Arkham Asylum arrived, fans started to become cautiously optimistic. It looked dark and was going to have an original tale by veteran Batman writer Paul Dini, one of the men behind the tremendous Batman the Animated Series, that still holds up today as one of the greatest adaptations of The Dark Knight ever. Voice actors from the seminal show were also smartly brought in, such as Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill and Arlene Sorkin. The signs were there. This was definitely not another cheap cash-in. And once it was released in 2009, fans realised that this was far more than a solid Batman title. This pushed the envelope for not just superhero games, but action titles in general. At no time did you feel that it was dragging, with clear thought and care put into all aspects of the experience. From the well-paced story, creepy gothic looking Arkham environment, soundtrack and Easter eggs to keep even the most dedicated fans happy. It was one of those rare occasions in the world of games where comic book fans and critics alike were caught off guard by the multiple award-winning title, comparing it to greats like Bioshock, Metroid and Zelda. For the first time you really felt like Batman. The balance of smooth combat and solid stealth mechanics were well executed and never felt like lazy additions. And unlike most Batman games, you weren't just punching baddies in the mouth. You were also tasked with becoming the world's greatest detective, uncovering clues and figuring your way around the asylum to progress and bring down some classic foes. The detective mode even went on to appear in various forms in games such as Witcher 3, Horizon Zero Dawn, among others. The iconic comic book writer Grant Morrison, author of the Arkham Asylum Serious House on Serious Earth graphic novel, which very much set the tone for the madhouse and its disturbing history in the comic books going forward, and of course this very game, even admitted that the game was what inspired his Batman Incorporated comic book series, claiming that, when I played that game, it was the first time in my life where I actually felt what it was like to be Batman. We are now the heroes, and we can look through their eyes. As mentioned earlier, the influence of the animated series of the 90s was clear throughout your time in the asylum, with the original voice actors immediately taking you back to sitting in front of the TV on a Saturday morning. And Paul Dini has said that he wanted to take iconic aspects of the Batman character without just recreating the show. This game wasn't scared to take you to a much darker and not so kid-friendly side of Batman's world, with some of the most sinister recreations of his rogues gallery to date. Speaking of which, I have to of course mention the Scarecrow boss battles, which are some of the most memorable for many gamers out there. I might even argue that this was the best adaptation of the character in any medium. The scale of Crane's levels utilised the fear toxin like never before. The scenarios, ranging from Gordon's apparent demise, Thomas and Martha Wayne's deaths, and even Joker bringing Batman to the madhouse, all catch you off guard and keep you guessing what's coming next. I'd also like to give a mention to the Riddler trophies, which were a nice touch without becoming overbearing or over the top in numbers in the first game. Clearly the fun backpacks in Spider-Man were inspired by these, and much like them gave fans of the character and their deep history another reason to explore the superbly designed Arkham. Since the release, the superhero movie and TV market has only grown bigger and bigger, although the number of superhero inspired games and those cash-ins I mentioned has thankfully decreased, and as a result the standard of the games has only improved. Since Arkham released, we've had the likes of the terrific Spider-Man and Injustice 1 and 2 that have been big successes, with the developers also taking their own routes with the characters and creating original and engaging plots, rather than throwing a lazy storyline together. Much like what the MCU did for comic book movies, Asylum set the bar, and now anything less isn't good enough for fans and gamers alike. The success of Batman Begins and The Dark Knight the year before, for me still the greatest superhero film ever made, of course deserves some recognition for helping to revitalise the character in the public eye, and played its part in the hype and success for the game too, in my opinion. Just like Arkham Asylum, it was a milestone in superhero adaptations. After years of mediocre films, Batman was a cool property again, that people were desperate for more of. Following the release, the Arkham series rolled on with 3 successful sequels, various mobile games and a VR title. We've also had novels, one by veteran comic book writer Marv Wolfman, comic books, some written by Dini himself, and an animated film based in the Arkham world, set after Origins. There is plenty for fans out there who have maybe only just discovered the game in recent years. 10 years on, yes, time does fly, or in this case, glide, and Arkham Asylum and indeed the rest of the stellar Arkham series are still fondly remembered and have a strong fan following. This was proven with the success of the remastered version of the game back in 2016, and with people online constantly speculating about Rocksteady's next project, some hoping for more Batman, maybe set in the future, or the rumoured Superman and Suicide Squad games from the last few years. Whatever the studio is working on, I obviously can't wait. Arkham Asylum is a game I'll always remember fondly, and really did achieve something special with a character I have a deep affection for, as cheesy as that probably sounds, and its influence I'm sure will carry on for many generations to come. If you've enjoyed the video, then please like and subscribe for new ones. Cheers for watching.